My wife was blabbering with her friend saying, "I'm dating 3 guys now. They're good in bed, not like him." And for a long, breathless second, I couldn't even process what I had just heard. She didn't whisper it. She didn't hide it. She didn't even lower her voice. She said it casually, laughing, bragging, the way someone might talk about a new restaurant or a pair of shoes they got on sale. And she had no idea I was standing on the other side of the half-closed door. Let me set the scene. It was Saturday afternoon, bright, warm, and embarrassingly peaceful. I had come home early from helping my brother move, hoping to surprise my wife, Elena, with her favorite takeout. We had been married 4 years, long enough to know her patterns, short enough that I still believed in all our promises. But as I approached the bedroom hallway, I heard her voice, too excited, too unfiltered. "I'm dating 3 guys now," she told her friend Melissa, laughing breathlessly. "They're good in bed. Not like him. God, he tries. But it's like teaching a kid how to ride a bike. Exhausting." Her friend cackled. I stopped walking, stopped breathing, stopped existing for a moment. Not like him. Him was me, her husband. I swallowed hard, but I didn't make a sound. Melissa asked, "Aren't you scared he'll find out?" Elena scoffed. "He's too trusting, too boring. He's comfortable, predictable. I could disappear for a whole weekend, and he'd assume I was on a yoga retreat." My grip tightened around the takeout bag. It crinkled too loudly, and I froze, praying they didn't hear. They didn't. Elena continued, lowering her voice just enough to sound conspiratorial. "And honestly, having multiple guys is exhilarating. I feel alive again, and they treat me like a prize." She snorted, "Not like the man who leaves dishes in the sink." Melissa giggled. "Which one do you like most?" "Oh, please. I'm not marrying any of them. They're just fun, my little escapes. And as long as my husband keeps paying for everything, I'm good." I felt something collapse inside my chest. Not shatter, collapse. Quietly, slowly, irreversibly. But I didn't storm in. I didn't yell. I didn't expose myself. No. I stepped back silently and walked toward the kitchen, each step feeling heavier than the last. I set the takeout down, leaned on the counter, and closed my eyes. My wife, the woman who cried in my arms when her mother passed, who held my hand the day I got promoted, who I thought loved me, was living an entirely separate life, a reckless, cruel one, and she was proud of it. I stood there until I heard her friend leave, the door clicking shut. Then her footsteps approached, her voice bright and fake sweet. "Babe, when did you get home?" I turned slowly. Her makeup was flawless. Her smile was flawless. Her lie was flawless. "Just now," I lied, mirroring her tone with terrifying calm. She walked up, kissed my cheek, and said, "You're such an angel for bringing food." I was starving. I stared at her like I was seeing a stranger, because I was. She took the takeout, humming happily, not realizing I knew every secret she thought she was hiding. But the thing is, what I heard wasn't the whole truth. It was the start, because later that night, after she fell asleep early, claiming she had a long editing day tomorrow, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Normally, I respected privacy. Even when trust was strained, I never crossed that line. But now, that line didn't exist. I unlocked her phone easily. She once insisted we share passwords for transparency. The irony nearly made me laugh. And what I found wasn't one affair. Wasn't 2. Wasn't 3. It was worse. 3 men was true, but that wasn't the whole story. Each man thought he was dating her exclusively. Each man believed she was stuck in a loveless marriage and planning to leave soon. She told each one a different version of the same script, perfectly tailored to their personalities. One guy, A, sent her money regularly. Rent, nails, spa days. Another, C, reserved Airbnbs for their little escapades, thinking he was her only escape from her cold husband. The third, R, was married himself, and she told him. If we both play smart, no one gets hurt. And then I found the kicker. A message she had sent Melissa. If I play this right, I can get a car out of one of them. Not sure which one yet, but they're all eager to spoil me. And my husband will never know. He's too busy being loyal. That line, that last line, it was the knife that made me bleed without any wound. I sat beside her sleeping form, reading the messages, while she breathed softly, peacefully, like she hadn't destroyed something sacred hours earlier. And as I scrolled, reading more filth, more lies, more timelines that conflicted with everything she ever told me, my mind didn't break. It sharpened. There was no rage, no crying, no begging for answers, just clarity. The clarity that comes when the truth is so big, so disgusting, so undeniable that your heart becomes quiet, not from weakness, but from precision. She thought she was invincible. She thought I was predictable. She thought she was safe. But she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. She forgot that even the quietest man can become dangerous when he finally sees the truth. And I wasn't about to confront her. Not yet. Because if she was juggling 3 different men and feeding them lies, then she had no idea how carefully I was about to dismantle the world she thought she controlled, piece by piece, lie by lie, day by day. So I kissed her forehead gently, just like always. She murmured, "Love you." And I whispered back, "I know." But she didn't know me anymore. Not the version of me she had just created. Not the version of me she was about to meet. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard her voice again. That careless laugh, that mocking tone, the way she said, "Not like him," as if I were a defective appliance she regretted buying. By morning, I wasn't angry, just hollow. She woke up late, stretching lazily, smiling at me like nothing in the world was wrong. "Morning," she said, walking past me to the kitchen. I studied her, the easy confidence, the casual peace. Of course she was calm. She didn't think I knew. She never imagined her own husband could be standing behind her, listening, while she bragged about juggling 3 men like it was some kind of sport. I sat at the table and watched her pour coffee, humming softly. "You're up early," she said. "I couldn't sleep," I replied. She didn't even look up. "You think too much. Just relax for once." Relax. If only she knew. I almost asked her right there, "Do they make you coffee too? Do they hear you talking about them like trophies? Or is that honor reserved for your best friend?" But I swallowed the words. I needed to know more, not out of jealousy, but because there was something else gnawing at me. Something deeper than betrayal. Why? What did she get from living this double life? Later in the day, she left the house in a rush, claiming she had a work errand. She barely made eye contact. She never did on days she went out like this. I waited 5 minutes after she left. Then I checked her tablet. I had never touched her devices before. I had never needed to. But trust only matters when it's not already shattered. Her messages were synced. Everything she thought she deleted was still there, buried in threads she assumed I'd never look at. And that's when I saw it. 3 separate conversations. 3 different men. 3 different versions of her. With the first guy, she was flirty and playful. With the second, she was bold and aggressive, all confidence. With the third, she was soft, vulnerable, emotional. The version of her I thought was just for me. She wasn't dating 3 guys. She was 3 different people, depending on who she was with. Reading them felt like peeling skin off my own chest. But one message hit me harder than all the others. A text she sent only an hour before. "I'll be over soon. Don't worry. He won't suspect anything. He's too simple." Simple. She had reduced our entire marriage to that one word. I closed the tablet, my hands shaking. Not from pain. From realization. This wasn't just cheating. This wasn't even just betrayal. My wife was living multiple lives. Performing for different men. Telling them different stories. Telling her friend even more. And I had been living with a stranger. A stranger who wore my wife's face, slept in my bed, ate at my table, but belonged to no one, not even herself. When she came home that evening, smiling like she hadn't spent the day lying to everyone, she kissed my cheek. I didn't move. She didn't notice. "Dinner later?" she asked. "Sure," I replied softly. She still didn't notice the difference. She didn't see that something in me had changed permanently. But she would. Very soon. Because now that I had seen the truth, she tried to delete. I wasn't going to confront her with anger. I was going to watch her unravel, one thread at a time. The next morning, I acted like nothing was wrong. I made her breakfast, packed her lunch, kissed her forehead. She smiled, thinking the world was still under her control, still fooled by her shifting masks. She didn't realize that for the first time in months, I was truly studying her, not as a husband, but as a man finally seeing the truth behind the performance. She left the house with that same light step, humming a tune that didn't belong to someone living an honest life. The moment the door clicked shut, I didn't confront her directly. Not yet. Instead, I sent one simple message from her tablet to one of the guys. "We need to talk tonight, at my place." Then I sent a similar message to the second man, then the third. I didn't phrase them dramatically. Nothing that would alert her. Just enough to bring all three fibers of her double life to the same point in time. And then I waited. She walked in around 6 p.m., smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. "Long day?" I asked casually. "Yeah, tiring. Too many errands." She tossed her bag down, stretching her arms. Her phone buzzed once, then twice, then a third time. I didn't have to look to know who they were from. She froze. Just for a split second. But it was enough. Her eyes darted to me. A flash of panic, quickly buried. "You okay?" I asked gently. She forced a smile. "Yeah, just work stuff." Her voice trembled. She was realizing something was wrong. Good. She wasn't the only one allowed to play roles. I began cooking dinner while she pretended to scroll her phone casually, clearly trying to figure out how her men suddenly all wanted to talk. She kept glancing at me. Her fingers shook. She knew. She knew something was coming. But she had no idea how much at 7:13 p.m. the first knock came. She jumped like she'd been caught stealing. "I'll get it," I said, wiping my hands. Her face went pale. She whispered, "No, wait." But I had already opened the door. Guy number one stood there. Tall, confused, expectant. Is she here?" he asked. Behind me, my wife made a strangled sound. I stepped aside. "Come in." Her knees almost buckled. He walked in, eyes shifting between us. "What's going on?" he asked her. She didn't answer. Then came the second knock. She actually whimpered. Guy number two entered, angrier than the first, clearly realizing something was off. "What the hell is this?" he demanded. My wife put her hands to her mouth, shaking violently. Then came the third knock. I didn't need to open the door for him. He walked in on his own after seeing the other two men inside. "Seriously," he barked at her. "You played all of us." All three men slowly turned toward her. The woman who crafted 3 different versions of herself, thinking she'd never be caught. Her lips trembled, eyes wide, breathing shallow. For the first time, there was no version of her she could switch to. No persona to slip into. No performance that could save her. Just the truth. Raw, ugly, undeniable. I stood beside the counter, silent, watching. Not with revenge. Not with satisfaction. Just with clarity. She finally turned to me, tears flooding her eyes. "Honey, I can explain." I shook my head slowly. "No, you can't. You never could." She fell apart in real time. The confident woman, the seductive one, the soft one, every version of her collapsed at once, leaving only a shaking shell of a person who no longer knew who she was without her lies. The men argued among themselves, all of them realizing what she was, what she had done, the web she'd wrapped them in. My wife covered her ears, sobbing, whispering, "Please stop, please." But the noise wasn't coming from them. It was coming from inside her. The unraveling. The collapse. The truth she could no longer control, that I picked up my keys and headed to the door. She lunged toward me, grabbing my arm with desperate, clawing hands. Please, don't leave me. I don't know why I did it. I made mistakes. I didn't mean please. Her tears soaked my sleeve. Her voice cracked with hysteria. She finally understood what she had lost. Not just me. Her entire illusion. I gently pried her hands off me. I didn't leave you tonight. I whispered. You left me a long time ago. She collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. The three men stood frozen, watching her fall apart. I opened the door, and as I walked out, she screamed my name, a sound filled with every regret she could never undo. But I didn't look back. Not once. Because when a person builds a life on lies, the only mercy you can give them is letting them face the ruins alone.